وانت خارجة في الباب بس ها؟ استنى صوتها دخل صوتها
تمام انت لايف.
اوكي Good day, everyone. We're just going to wait for like 5 minutes and then we're going to start. Okay. So let's start. And today discussion will be about using ChatGPT for cybersecurity. Or to be more accurate, how can you gain the skills as a cybersecurity specialist using ChatGPT? And this is a very important topic for people who are looking to build a cybersecurity career. But they are facing the common problems like they don't have the hands-on. They need some kind of mentorship, so they will be able to, someone will help them to understand how all the process related to cybersecurity should be done. It's going to be helpful for people who are switching their career from the normal career to cybersecurity, from any career like business career, project management, any career. people who took some training in cybersecurity, but still they cannot understand exactly how such knowledge can be utilized in a real business environment. So anyone who feels that cybersecurity is quite hard to understand or to learn, I think this would be quite useful for him. So first, let's explain what do you need to work in cybersecurity field using ChatGPT. I mean, is it for everyone, or is it specifically for some jobs or some specialization in cybersecurity that they can utilize ChatGPT in their work? First, we need to understand that cybersecurity jobs has different category. And this is very important actually to keep in mind, that cybersecurity jobs has different specialization. So we have technical positions or technical jobs like penetration tester or cybersecurity engineer or SOC analyst. Those are all technical cybersecurity positions. And we have other positions that is more into the governance part, things like cybersecurity specialist or cybersecurity officer or cybersecurity analyst. All those positions are into the governance area, but with the technical background. So you still have you need to have some technical knowledge, not deep, but at least you need to have some fundamentals about the technical requirement of any organization. But most of the jobs are within the governance part. Now, if you ask me which jobs are more common or has more demand, actually both of them. But the specialists are more common because actually this is very important for any business. The specialist is one who coordinates between technical and business department. So this is a very common position that doesn't request that much of skills to be able to learn and gain skills for. So the first step, if you're going to build your cybersecurity career, is to identify the suitable job for you. And today we're going to talk about the cybersecurity specialist, because specialist or officer, you can gain the skills, or you can use ChatGPT in a very effective way that will teach you realistically how you can do whatever is written inside the job description. This is a real job description, and we're going to use that or as a baseline, because if we're going to talk about how can we work as a cybersecurity professional using ChatGPT, we need to measure, or we need to have some kind of a baseline, or we need to have a reference to use so we can practice it. So the first point that I refer to is that we need to work according to a specific job description. We will do one session for a cybersecurity specialist. We will do another live streaming for how to use ChatGPT to learn the skills for a SOC analyst or a pen tester and so on. So this is actually the first step. Now keep in mind that for cybersecurity, you do have different options, okay? And before showing you or explaining how to do the different cybersecurity activity or main jobs using ChatGPT, you need to understand you can consider to work as a freelancer. This is a very good option, and they are paying quite well. And let's see what cybersecurity freelancer is doing. If you check for instance, people who have experience with ISMS, Information Security Management System, and you search on Upwork or Freelance or any of those websites, but especially Upwork because it's quite common for cybersecurity people, you will see, let's look, that people actually are doing quite well here. Let me open one of them and let's see what kind of activity he's doing. Okay. Now, I'm considering that maybe you didn't came from a cybersecurity background. You only have basics knowledge about cybersecurity. You took few courses as a training. Let's check this guy, for instance. and let's see what exactly he's doing and how much he did, and how much he made from doing this kind of activity. So this is a cybersecurity specialist, and as you can see, he's doing documentation, and keep that in mind. Documentation, it's very, very important in our business. So ISMS documentation, consulting, ISO consulting or implementation. You can see that most of his work are into the audits, the implementation, and so on. Okay. Now, if you check how much he made more than $1 million doing that, and he's working freelancer, which means he take whatever jobs he like, and he ignore whatever he don't like. He's not a full-time working somewhere, but this is an example. Also, you can have, or you have another option to work remotely. If you check on LinkedIn the amount of remote jobs for cybersecurity, you will find many of them. And as you can see, you can find something to work remotely. So even if you are located somewhere where you don't have much opportunities, you are not in US or you are not in Europe, or so, you still can find work remotely and still can be able to do it. And ChatGPT will help you in this case. So the 2 points that I would like to clarify before we start, that first, this is related, today live session is related to the governance position. How can you do the activity as a cybersecurity specialist or as a cybersecurity professional using ChatGPT? Then the skills that you can use or learn using ChatGPT, it can be utilized to apply for full-time jobs, part-time jobs, and so on. Now let's talk about this position, and let's talk about ChatGPT. How can we utilize ChatGPT for learning real skills, realistic skills? So the governance position are actually, as I mentioned, is a very sensitive position in any organization, because those are the people who maintain the security of the business, not the security of the technical infrastructure. This actually is a very important responsibility, because those positions are responsible to maintain the stability of the business. So let's see what exactly are the common job responsibility and how can we do that in ChatGPT. Now keep in mind, it will be quite useful if you do have some basics background. Maybe you took a Security Plus training or a CISSP training. So taking the training, understanding what you are doing will be quite useful. But if you're going to use ChatGPT in a way that he will do everything on behalf of you, and you don't really understand what he's doing, this will not work. So you need to have some basics foundation about cybersecurity. So one of your responsibilities as a cybersecurity specialist is to develop and implement information security policy. And this is quite common. A lot of freelancing jobs and a lot of activity will look for people who know how to create policy. And also, whenever you work somewhere in the cybersecurity team, a part of your responsibility will be to create a policy and a procedures. Now, creating a policy and procedures may seem easy because you can go to, a lot of websites like SANS websites where they have a list of policies that you can download and use. But it's not that simple realistically, because when you create a policy, a set of policy for any organization, you need to map it with the standard and the compliance that they are following. Let me give you an example. If you got a project to create a set of policy and procedures for a hospital located in US, hospital and healthcare in US are following a specific standard called HIPAA. So you need to create the policy according to HIPAA standard. And you need to include the mapping with the standard. You need to include, you created the policy based on which control is the HIPAA standard. And if the hospital is following other standard like ISO 27001, you have to include the controls in the both standard that requested to have this kind of policy. So let me show you an example. So I will ask ChatGPT create a email security policy. I want to create an email security policy that explain to the people who are working in the hospital the restriction when it comes to using the hospital email or the business email. Okay, and the policy should be mapped with, for example, HIPAA and ISO 27001. So he will create the policy. And as I told you, the problem is not creating the policy, because you can find a lot of template online. But the problem is you need to make sure the policy comply with the standard. Usually organization will not only have one policy, they will have a set of policy, right? So creating the policy was never the problem. The problem is the mapping with the standard. And I will show you what I'm talking about within a few seconds once it creates the policy. So he will create a full sophisticated policy about email security in any organization. Let's wait until it finishes. Okay. But I will notice something, that once the policy is created, he didn't include the map. I mean, the policy is quite good. It has all the policy structure from the introduction to the scope, everything that I need to be aware of. Okay. However, I need to include the mapping section. I need to write down in the policy, this policy was created according to HIPAA, this specific control, and according to ISO, this specific control. So I can ask him, add a mapping in a table format and map it with HIPAA and and ISO 27001. This is a very important part to be included, which is why the policy was created. Okay, so he will create the table and he will show me in each standard which control requested to have an email security policy, or whatever the policy was about, because I can see it can include many sections of the standard, access control and so on. So he includes the control in the policy. This usually was a very exhausting task, actually, especially if you are creating a policy that is following more than one compliance. In some cases, we have policies that follow GDPR and PCI DSS and ISO 27001. Creating this table was not an easy process. Now, if you are doing an information security policy for any organization, it used to take a few days, right? Now, within less than 1 hour, you can create the set of policy complying with the standard and requirement in very, very simple way. This is one example of using ChatGPT in a cybersecurity activity. Now, I'm showing you that not as an educational part, but as a process that you can follow. This is something that you can do and provide services as a cybersecurity professional, because cybersecurity policy, it's quite important for any organization. That's why it was the first requirement in the job description, to have or to know how to create cybersecurity policy. So now you don't need to memorize anything, and you don't need to keep looking in different standard and compliance and try to map. It's become quite easy. Okay. Then let's take something that is also simple, and then we will start getting things complicated. One of the activities that you should consider whenever you work in any organization as a cybersecurity specialist is to perform security awareness training. Now, this is a very good activity, and some people actually are only doing that. I know a lot of people who only work as an awareness specialist. Actually, there is a position now called awareness specialist. Now, people think about information security awareness in a very high level way. They think that, okay, awareness, I will gather people in any company and tell them, guys, do not click on the link inside an email, or do not open any attachment from an unknown source, and this is awareness. But actually, it's not like that. It's quite complicated. Because when you do awareness, what you need to do awareness according to job functionality. Because the information security awareness that you're going to give for HR department will have specific requirement to HR. For example, HR, when it comes to hiring people, there is a process that need to be followed. When it comes to people who start working with the company, there is a process that need to be followed. When people leave the company and resign or get terminated, they have to follow a policy. So I need to tell this kind of controls to the HR only. IT has nothing to do with the hiring people or firing them, right? When I do an awareness session with a IT department, it will be completely different. I will speak with them about baseline, about vulnerability assessment, about business continuity, whatever they are responsible with. They are responsible about. I will explain to them how it should be done according to standard and a compliance. So this is also a topic that ChatGPT can really help in this area. So I can give him a scenario and tell him I need to, I want you to plan for an information security awareness campaign. Okay. And I can start giving it some more specification. I want to do an awareness campaign for a company that work in, for example, in export and import. Provide a plan based on each department functionality. Okay. So I can tell him I need to do an awareness plan, but it has to be customized according to each department. What is the role and responsibility related to them? And then I can, of course, be more specific, telling I need one for HR department, one for finance department. So he can give me a full plan, how many weeks, what will be the topics, what will be the department. Okay. And you can start fine-tuning because ChatGPT, it's an interact platform. So you can start fine-tuning that and tell him, no, I wanted to have it department based. Provide the awareness sorry about that, guys. Awareness based on each department responsibility. Okay, sorry. Even if you didn't correct this typo mistake, it will understand what you are talking about. So you can start telling it, no, I don't want general awareness. I just want each department should know what exactly. And it will tell you the departments that manage the personal detail, like HR department or finance department. Here is the things that need to be covered, IT department and so on. Okay. So you can keep asking him what you need till you have the content and you have the evaluation method and you have everything related to the awareness. So even after writing that, I will ask him, how can I evaluate the effectiveness of the awareness? So it's not just to select the topic. I can also ask him, okay, when I will conduct the awareness, how can I measure the effectiveness of that? And he will give me the way for effective. Now, keep in mind, it's not only giving you guidelines, it will give you even results, an example. For example, let me show you. So right now, you can consider that normal guidance, but you can ask him, you can tell him, okay, give me 10 questions that I can use to evaluate the effectiveness of the awareness and their answer. So you can be more specific and ask him, okay, give me the content or give me the questions that need to be, or what kind of question it should be done. So it will also indicate you on sample of question and their answer. So if you consider that, you can see that he can do everything. He can do the presentation, the content, he can do the evaluation method, he can tell you the questions that need to be asked, he can give you whatever is needed from A to Z. Okay, but what I would like to clarify here is that it should not be done blindly. I mean, whatever ChatGPT will provide you, you have to understand exactly everything that he provides. So if you don't have any knowledge about information security, this will not work. But if you have basics knowledge, it will be quite helpful. So yes, ChatGPT can provide you with everything, except you still need to have some basics understanding about what is getting provided, because you may need to change something. Maybe the management will ask you to add one more topic. So this will not be acting blindly. It has to be done according to certain knowledge. Otherwise, it will not be working. So, allow me 1 second. So this is another example. So we saw how ChatGPT can help us creating a set of policy and map it with the standard, doing an information security awareness. Let's take something a little bit deeper, and let's use our job description to use that. Okay. Now there is some complicated activities that usually take time and effort, and I will select things like collaborating for creating a disaster recovery plan, collaborating with IT department for creating a disaster recovery plan. Now, what I will do, I will start with some activity and then I will start moving to the technical activity, because not all the activities that is needed from you are management activity. Actually, there is some activity which is technical activity. For example, managing antivirus. Can ChatGPT help you managing antivirus and tell you how to use it, regardless of what product you are using, Kaspersky or Sofo or whatever? So we will take some example from the operational activity or administrative activity, and some example from the technical activity as well. Disaster recovery is very, very critical for any business. And it depends on identifying the critical business function and start doing a plan for a disaster recovery and testing this plan. Now, the concept may seem complicated, but actually it's not that complicated. It's much easier. And you need to understand that this is a collaboration between security and IT department. So most of the heavy work is done by IT, which is preparing the plan and testing the plan. You just need to identify the critical business function and make sure the IT department creates a plan and tests the plan. This is how it works. So assume you didn't do any disaster recovery plan before. So you can ask ChatGPT, provide a step-by-step guide to implement a disaster recovery as per ISO 27001. So you can specify this disaster recovery plan is based on which standard, okay? And he will give you the plan step by step what need to be done. And then you start break down the process. Take the first step, how it should be done. So it will give you a step-by-step plan, but I'm still considering that you have no idea about how the plan is done. So we will take each step and ask him to give me some example, give me the templates that we are using, give me how can I collect information from department that fulfill those templates. So I can take each step and start diving a little bit into the details of this step. So he explains the steps, okay, which is good. However, I'm assuming that since you didn't implement the DRP before, maybe it doesn't seem that simple, but it's not a problem at all. So let's see the steps and start asking him what need to be done exactly. So for example, let's take step 2. You can do for all the steps, but I need one steps that has details and so on. So if I don't know what is the risk assessment or how to conduct it, okay, I can ask him, okay, could you clarify or explain step 2 and provide some examples and some templates that can be used for this purpose. So I can ask him to explain the step in a very, very detailed way, and even giving me an example and giving me a template. And even if the template is not filled, I can ask him to show me an example or a use case. So some people are using ChatGPT just to get guidelines, but I feel that you can use Google for the same purpose. I mean, you can go to Google and type, how can I do a BIA? And you can find a few videos on YouTube or some websites that will explain the steps. But the good thing about ChatGPT is that he will elaborate more about whatever point that is not clear for you. And he will give you example, and he will give you a website from where you can download template. So it's mainly more as a mentor that will answer any question regarding what you are doing. So as you can see, he gave me a table, and he started writing some sample from what is a threat, what is a vulnerability. So it go as deep as you want, okay? Consider that you still are facing a problem with this step, for example, and you need to know how can I collect such information from each department. I can ask him, okay, write an email to each email that I can send to each department and or to be able to do the risk assessment to each of those departments. So the point is or a lot of a lot of the activities that we are doing will always have an input from the department, because I cannot do a risk assessment until I collect the information from the department. So I don't know what should I ask the department for. So I can ask him to create the email, and he will give me, or he would generate the email that it should be done or sent to the department, and ask for the information that I will need to use to do the risk assessment. So I don't know if it's clear for you guys how deep things can go, and how that can be very, very useful if you have the basics. Okay, again, one more time, you cannot plan to work as a cybersecurity professional without any basics knowledge. But ChatGPT will cover the gaps between the traditional training and the real life experience. This activity you will never learn unless someone will show it to you. This is before having ChatGPT. I need someone to sit with me and show me how he conduct a risk assessment, or show me how to do a disaster recovery. What information should I collect from different departments, from IT department? So it's not an easy process, but now ChatGPT will show you step by step with a sample, with the example. You can even ask him to give you a use case. If you still are not clear about this step or this process, you can tell him, provide me with a use for the same. And then he will give you a full use case. Consider a hospital, consider a bank. He will start giving you a use case, and then what should be done, and how it should be done, and what's the process workflow, and so on and so forth. So I know, or actually I'm quite confident, that if you start understanding how deep ChatGPT can go, this could be a very good opportunity for you, or for people who are building or looking to build a cybersecurity career. Because it's not only learning, you can start working and using ChatGPT while you are working. This is not an underground website. I mean, a lot of companies now, they are using ChatGPT in their work. So if you know how to use it, you fulfill the gap you have regarding the hands-on or realistic experience. Now, let me take two more points, and I really appreciate your attendance for today. I will start talking about technical activity. Okay. Now, the technical activity, it's quite tricky, because one of your responsibility is to manage some of the security solution, things related to antivirus, firewall. Okay, what if you know the antivirus, but you don't know how to manage it? Tomorrow you got an opportunity to work in a company and they are using Kaspersky antivirus for enterprise, because most of the antivirus, they have two different solutions, one for business and one for personal. So assume that the company are using a specific product. You don't know how to use it and you don't have any experience. Can ChatGPT help you? Okay. Or let me give you another example. One of your very important responsibility as a cybersecurity professional is to perform a routine vulnerability assessment. Okay. So what if you don't know how to conduct that? Or most important, what if you don't know the tool to conduct a vulnerability assessment? Okay. So I can ask ChatGPT to help me learn how to use the tool. I'll give you a small example. If you get hired in a company and this company are using a tool called NASIS to do a vulnerability assessment, of course, you need to understand what is vulnerability assessment, right? But you'd never used this tool before. You know that vulnerability assessment, it's an application that will identify vulnerability in different system and all the missing patches and all the missing update, and it will give you a report. You will send this report to the application team or the Windows team or the Linux team, and they will fix it. Okay. But my point here, what if I don't know how to use the tool? So I can ask him, provide me with a step-by-step guide on how to use NACES. Now, this could be any tool, Rapid7, NACES, any vulnerability assessment tool, to conduct a vulnerability assessment So I want him to explain to me how can I use the tool. I have the program in front of me. I don't know how to use it. Okay. Keeping in mind that I didn't use this tool before. So he will explain, open the program, click on the following, download the program from the website in case you didn't download it. Here he's explaining the installation. Then if the program is already installed, you can click on this link and you should click on this option from this menu. So if you have the ChatGPT open in front of you and you have the NACES running, you can follow the step by step and you will be able to conduct the ChatGPT vulnerability assessment. Okay. And same concept apply for anything. Assume you have Kaspersky antivirus enterprise solution and you don't know how to use Kaspersky to block the USB on all the devices in your company, right? You didn't use it before. You can ask him, how can I use Kaspersky, and I can even specify console, the version 12 to block USB for all the company computers. So I don't know how to do that. I know I have the tool, but I don't know how to use it. I can ask him and I can be very specific about the tool, the version, and he will tell. Maybe he will not provide visualization like a video or a screenshot, but it's quite easy. When you go and follow that, it will be very easy for you. Go to this option, select this command, do the following. So following that, you will be able to do the activity. So the point here is that you should not now be worried about memorizing steps or about you need someone to show you how it's done. ChatGPT can really guide you in technical and non-technical position. And today I'm only talking about one position, which is a cybersecurity specialist. Later on, we're going to do the SOC analyst. I will show you, first I will explain what is SOC analyst, and then I will show you how ChatGPT or any AI can help. Okay. Now, what is the limitation of ChatGPT and what cannot be done or should not be done with ChatGPT? First, you should not share any sensitive information in a way that you should work this way, but you should not give the ChatGPT, for example, all the company asset, copy and paste it in ChatGPT and ask him to do the risk assessment, or provide him with private personal information and ask him to do something. So you should not share any sensitive information. You should ask questions that deep, but the implementation need to be done on your side. Second point, the limitation of ChatGPT is the date. ChatGPT has information up to September 2021. Now, if you're going to work on any product or standard that is after that, ChatGPT will not help. So, for example, if I ask him, provide me with the list of ISO 27001 2022 controls. ISO, it's an international standard for information security that we are using a lot. So it has a list of controls, right? And it was 114 in the previous version, ISO 27001 2013, but recently there is a new ISO. So any company who are looking for someone to help them implement ISO now, they are looking for someone who knows how to implement the latest ISO. If I ask ChatGPT to help me on that, he will not. Because the point is, ChatGPT is only updated till September 2021. So if I click on enter, you will see he's telling me I'm updated till September 2021. Okay, so he's telling that, and accordingly, he will give me the information on of the previous ISO, which is 2013. So this will not help, right? And he will give you all the control, but still he's talking about the control related to ISO 27000, the previous version. So whatever was done after 2021, ChatGPT cannot help with when it comes to standard compliance requirement and so on. Okay. Do we have a solution for that? 100%. Since this AI revolution is going on badly, so now we have more than one platform. And the second platform that I will suggest is Bard.Google, okay? Bard website, which is an AI platform, but related to Google, and it's free. ChatGPT has a free version and a paid version, okay? So you can go to bard.google.com and you can ask him question, and it works the same way ChatGPT is work. So you can type the same question, provide me with a list of controls in ISO 27001 2022. This one is updated. Okay, so he will give you the controls in 2022. It's a little bit slower, but it will give you the results. Okay, so there is some limitation in ChatGPT. However, it's very, very effective. And recently, they added a new feature to add plugin into ChatGPT, and then it can start generating videos, it can start generating text, or generating other kind of documents. So it's not just a chatbot right now. So things are getting improved. You have to be or to follow up with the progress on that. Final point in our session today, which is related to getting yourself ready for a job. I mean, whatever I explained so far, it was more into how can I understand, or how can I practice the implementation of any activity for a cybersecurity position using ChatGPT. And we took few examples. Some of them are technical, some of them are operational, some of them are administrative, but we saw the concept behind it and how deep it can go. Another good utilization of ChatGPT is to get you ready to start looking for jobs or applying for jobs. For example, your LinkedIn profile, it's very, very important. It's your interface for people who are looking for candidates who know about cybersecurity and they want to hire them. So I can ask him, create or guide me on how to change my LinkedIn profile to be suitable for a professional cybersecurity specialist. So you can ask him to show you how to create your LinkedIn profile, what should be written in your CV, or what should be written in your title, or how it should be done, and he will show you. You can ask him to create a CV. You can give him your own CV, copy and paste, and ask him to put it or write it in a proper way or in a more professional way. You can ask him to create the cover letter. So even the preparation for cybersecurity jobs, ChatGPT can help you on that. Okay. So to summarize, ChatGPT is a very, very, very useful tool for cybersecurity professionals that can be used in different ways. Can be used for job preparation, can be used for implementing or executing any activities that you have as cybersecurity specialist, can be used to understand how to do any activity. The only points that I would like to highlight on it one more time is that you need to have the basics understanding of cybersecurity. And this will fix the gaps related to hands-on. It will give you the resources, it will give you use cases, examples, whatever you need, it will be given. So this is briefly about how to use ChatGPT to become a cybersecurity professional. I'll be more than happy to answer any question in case of any. Thank you so much, gentlemen. Okay. We will do a couple of more sessions. One will be about ChatGPT in some deeper technical activities, things, for example, like SOC analyst or penetration testing or cybersecurity engineering, to get to learn more. What I suggest for you guys is to start getting familiar with that, because it will open opportunities for you guys. I mean, you can have a profile on Upwork, and I saw that actually realistically, a profile on Upwork where you can provide services, and you will select the services that you can do. You know, you can write down, I can provide policy and procedures, I can provide gap assessment, I can provide audit, you know, whatever that ChatGPT can help you. And believe me, those people are doing a lot of money, but you need to have a clear scope, and you can work on that. You can start identifying your weakness and use ChatGPT to help you improve them. You can start preparing your CV and your LinkedIn profile and work on it. But the option is a lot of options, and you have different choice right now. So time couldn't be better. Consider switching or start getting familiar with ChatGPT and see the utilization of that. The only things that I recommend to have some basics knowledge about the topic, so at least you know what they are talking about, because whatever get provided here, you may need to change it. And when you are working with a customer, if you create for him like a set of policy, he may ask you to change something or modify something or elaborate on something. So if you're going to work blindly, copy and paste, this will not work. If you have the basics, this will be very, very effective for you. Thank you so much, guys. It was really great. Okay, I can see a couple of questions. Let me see. If you are asking about purchasing subscription in ChatGPT, it's really easy. You just need to go to a website called OpenAI. And in this website, you will find two different options for ChatGPT. You have the free version, which is very, very effective. And you have the paid version. It costs around $20 per month. But believe me, you can get good amount of money using ChatGPT. Trust me on that. Okay, you just need to organize your thoughts about it. What can I do, and what knowledge do I have, and what gaps do I have? This will fix it. And as I told you now, they allow us in the paid version to. It has a lot of plugins that will update the ChatGPT, plugins that will generate video. Let me show you an example. I can ask him to generate a 1 minute video that explain the skills you need to have to work in cybersecurity. Now, because I added a free plugin, I have to activate the plugin. Just try. So now things are even improving. So if you have a chance to subscribe in the paid version, it's very, very effective and much better. However, the free one also will work. So it's not really a problem. Let me just make sure. Yeah, it's working. Here you go. Yeah, so he will generate a video because I added a plugin on ChatGPT. Uh, it's like ChatGPT has its own store right now, plugin store from where you can download some plugin. And if you want, I can do another streaming about that because there is some plugins that is really, really useful. Okay, so it will create the video, and let me show you how it looks like. And it's very, very sophisticated, the text and with the music, and you can even change the text. But you will see that he created a very sophisticated video. Let me show you. Here you go. Just allow a few seconds. Yeah. I don't know if you can hear that, but it's very realistic. You can hear someone talking and explaining, and he created the presentation and everything. So things are scary, to be honest, how far it can go, but still, because also AI can also be used in the opposite way. Malicious hackers can use it. So whatever is coming, we don't know how it's going to work, or the type of challenge that we will have. So it's a new technology. You need to consider that, and it's really, really useful. And for people who are looking to work in cybersecurity or improve their skills or switching their career, I think this could be quite useful. Thank you so much, and I really appreciate your time. And we will be adding or doing more streaming next week about deeper understanding of this kind of technique. And that's it for today. Really appreciate your time. Thank you so much, Benjamin. Have a good day, everyone.